Hello guys, welcome to the review WWE pay-per-view review. And today we have the Super Showdown, the Australian tour, WWE's Australian tour. So you can't complain the show is bad. I think the show is really good. I actually wasn't expecting that from a glorified house show. All the heels won, 80% of the heels won, which makes it a glorified house show. And the actual show actually opened with the New Day versus The Bar for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. You cannot expect this match to be any good. It wasn't. New Day retained with a double stomp backstabber on Cesaro, retained the title. So that's it, nothing to say on this one. And the New Day weren't losing it big time. So the next match was Becky Lynch and Charlotte. As I told you, this was a glorified house show. That means the heels, majority of the heels were losing. And here's a problem. What happened is that you have been building Becky Lynch as a top level babyface, or I say not babyface, a heel, top level heel in 2 months. And suddenly, if you give this title to Charlotte, that will make Becky look weak. That will be a dumb decision. And you cannot put the title, as I told you, it's a glorified house show. You cannot have the face win. So it was, I think, a really good decision to give the DQ win to Charlotte. The face won, and Becky looked really strong. So what happened was that Charlotte was locked the figure eight at the end, and somehow Becky found the championship and clobbed her in the head, which gave the DQ into Charlotte. Very good match, in my opinion, was a really decent match. And Becky, of course, Charlotte won. The next match, then now I want to talk about John Cena for a while. The worst match of the night. John Cena and Lashley teamed to take on Elias and Owens. I don't have a problem with John Cena. I think I don't have really a big problem with John. He has been the biggest superstar in WWE in the past 15 years. I don't have much problem with it. A lot of people out there. But what happened during the match was that Elias was controlling the match. Oh, the heels had the match in control. They were beating Bobby Lashley down, and Lashley tags Cena in. Cena comes out, 6 moves, match is over. At least let the heels have some control on the match. I really hated what the finish of this match. Then we got to, I think, probably the worst match of the night. John Cena and Lashley against Elias and Owens. Lashley starts the match with Elias. He's in control of the match, beating both of them. And then the heels dominate. Lashley starts to get his ass whooped. Heels are dominating. Suddenly, Lashley makes the tag. Cena comes out, shoulder tackle, 5-knuckle shuffle, AA, and the worst finisher in WWE history, the 6th move of doom, and the match is over. Now Cena is using that. I thought that Cena would use that finisher in China as a troll, like a parody, but he's seriously using the finishers in his matches. In front of this finisher, the Cobra looks like the RKO. Talk about burying people. This was a really dumb decision, a really terrible decision as well. Then Iconics beat Asuka and Naomi. And though I told you that majority of heels were lost this match, And I didn't say everybody, I said majority. And I understand why they gave this victory to the Iconics. Of course, they are from Australia and they won in front of their home crowd. So, yeah, not a very good match. Not expecting a lot from this match. I think, okay. Then AJ Styles defended the WWE Championship against Samoa Joe and the number one contender. And I hate the fact that the number one contendership match for the title is above the card than the actual title match itself. It doesn't make a sense, but whatever. Joe and Styles no DQ match, very good. Both men started the fight outside before the bell rang, and Joe was looking. One moment I thought that Joe was looking for the muscle buster on Styles. I was like, holy shit, he's gonna do it. Then Styles countered. Of course, they were not doing it. Why bother? I was really hoping that Joe would win. Of course, that didn't happen. Styles won after the calf crusher that made Joe tap out. And now we're gonna have AJ Styles defending the WWE Championship against another man who we will talk later in the video at Crown Jewels in Saudi Arabia. And I think it's time for AJ Styles to drop the title. His reign as champion is getting a lot boring. And at Crown Jewels, I would love to see a Fatal 4-Way match for the WWE Championship. AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe versus The Miz versus Daniel Bryan. I don't want to see AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan a one-on-one singles match, a ladder match, or a stipulation match, or a Fatal 4-Way elimination match. That would be really cool. Then we got the match of the night between Buddy Murphy and Cedric Alexander. I don't give a damn about what anybody thinks. This was the match of the night for me. It really was. They had some jaw-dropping near falls. Action in the match was so amazing. And seeing the crowd like that for Murphy, it's absolutely amazing to see the crowd reaction for Buddy Murphy. And I can see why they put the title. And Buddy Murphy won the match following his move. I think what's that finisher called? I think have to check it out. Wait, I'll check it out. What's the finisher of Buddy Murphy? Buddy Murphy finisher. Murphy finisher. What's the finisher name? Oh, yeah. Murphy. Whatever it may be. He used his finisher at the end and he won the match. And I see why they kept the championship on Buddy Murphy. The crowd for him was absolutely nuts. Everybody was on their seat for this encounter. And I think this was way better than the Undertaker Triple H match that we will talk about later. And then we got the match between the Shield and the Braun Strowman, Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, and I didn't really care about this. This rivalry is getting really bad, sick. And before the match, a brawl started where the Shield took out Shield all in their mask, and Black came down to the ring through the crowd, and they surrounded Drew, Dolph, and Braun from all three sides, and they took out the Shield, isolated, I think, Dolph, and Drew from Braun Strowman, and they attacked 3-on-1. Braun 3-on-1. They had it pretty much under their control. Then the heels got their upper hand, and they beat the Shield, and they whooped Seth Rollins' ass. They were whooping Seth Rollins' ass. And Seth then tagged in Dean Ambrose, hot tag, and who tagged in Roman Reigns. And at one point, Roman Reigns accidentally Superman punched Dean Ambrose in the face. And I'll talk about it later in the video. So I was like, oh my god, this is he gonna turn heel? I think he's gonna turn heel this tonight. But and then they were starting to get their ass kicked. Shield was starting to get their ass kicked. Dean Ambrose was down. Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns were in the ring. They surrounded the ring. Like pretty much like the Shield did before. And then from fourth side, Dean Ambrose sneaked up, and I thought, whoa, this heel turn is gonna happen. But it didn't. He came inside, he kicked, he helped his brothers fend off the goons, and at last, when Seth Rollins was about, Dean Ambrose was about to get the shoulder tackle of Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns out of nowhere speared Braun Strowman, and then at last Dean Ambrose delivered a dirty deeds to Dolph Ziggler for the 3 count. I will talk about what happened in this match later in the video. For now, let's go to the other match that was between The Miz and Daniel Bryan, the #1 contendership match for the WWE Championship. I don't know when this match started and when it finished. It was under 5 minutes. I don't know what was the decision. I have no idea what I saw. So we get to the match between Daniel Bryan and The Miz. Miz actually hits the running knee on Daniel Bryan. He goes for the skull crushing finale and tries to go for the skull near fall. He tries to go for a skull crushing finale. Daniel Bryan rolls him up. 1, 2, 3, and the match is over. A very short match. I don't know why this match was so short. Under 5 minutes concluded, and Daniel Bryan is now the #1 contender for the WWE Championship. It will be Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles at Crown Jewels, and I want something to happen at the next event. It's not that normal face versus face match or something really special. Maybe a AJ Styles heel turn, maybe a Daniel Bryan heel turn, but having a face versus face match, it doesn't click. Like, AJ Styles' reign as WWE champion has been boring. I think if you're an AJ Styles fan, also you'll agree. It has been downright boring, and if something new doesn't come, I don't know how I'm gonna be genuinely interested in it. That, of course, that'll be the future. We'll see what will happen. So the next match was the main event between Undertaker and Triple H. It was not a very good match. I wasn't expecting a 5-star classic that they used to perform 10 years earlier. It's the reason because both men have already passed their prime. I don't know why they're even wrestling. They need to go away. And this is a big problem with Raw. They're depending too much on nostalgia. They're promoting nostalgia too much. And a lot of people say that this is actually not that bad, but I think it's bad because you have, in this era, you have so much talent on one show, but you still have to depend on Triple H, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, the three guys that have already, it's been 10 years that they have already passed their prime. It is bad. Of course it is bad. So we got the match. I'm not going into details into this match. And funny thing is, the Kane was there and he was basically doing nothing. Kane was basically doing nothing, and Shawn Michaels was distracting the Undertaker way too much. And the end, Triple he was looking for the Tombstone Pile Driver. One switch in music on The Undertaker, and Triple H hits the pedigree, and Triple H wins the match. And after the match, we all got the handshake and all like WrestleMania 28, and then Undertaker and Triple H beat Undertaker and Kane beat the DX or Triple H and Shawn Michaels. They absolutely destroyed them, and I know where they're going now. At Crown Jewels, of course, there'll be a tag team match between Brothers of Destruction and DX. And if Michaels is really coming back, then I hope they end the rivalry right there. I want to see Shawn Michaels take on some new guys like AJ Styles or Seth Rollins in a match like it's a dream match. Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles, Seth Rollins versus Shawn Michaels, or Shawn Michaels versus AJ Styles. It's a big dream match. And I don't want to see this shit again. Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Undertaker once again. It ended 6 years ago at WrestleMania 28. End of an era, remember? Yeah, so that was it. The show was, I told you, it was a glorified house show. It wasn't really good show. It wasn't really bad show. So let's come to the Shield and Dogs of War situation. So we have here is Superman Roman last week on Raw. Dean Ambrose, the Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre, they tried to manipulate Dean Ambrose 2 weeks ago. And last week in a promo, we had felt that Dean Ambrose will turn heel. A little bit was done there. Hinted. A little bit was possibly hinted. And this week, in Super Showdown, we got absolutely Roman Reigns. Superman punched him in the face. Don't tell me that they're not going to turn him heel. Of course he's turning heel. Sooner or later, Dean Ambrose is turning heel. Remember what happened with the Shield in 2014? They were teasing a split since late 2013, and then they split back in mid of 2014. A similar thing is going to happen with Dean Ambrose. You can tell me later if it doesn't happen. It's gonna happen. It's obviously gonna happen. And so Super Showdown, I will rate this show 4 out of how much? 3 out of 5. For a live event, it was really good. And so we have Crown Jewels coming up, Survivor Series coming up, Evolution coming up. I think it's gonna be a really jam-packed, busy month. So that's it for today. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and to stay all notified, like the video. You can share it with your friends if you enjoyed, and leave a comment for me below. That's goodbye for today. I'll see you soon.